Hey, welcome back to the K-Cup, episode 30. Today we're going to talk about a familiar subject that we like to talk about because we know that there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's ways that a GC can collaborate with a commercial real estate professional to close more deals. And today we're going to talk about three specific ways that a GC can really bring, serious value to a commercial real estate, just their practice, and then obviously to put deals together. So we're going to jump into that. Welcome back to the K Cup. We're glad you're here. Episode 30. We're rolling on. We're heading towards that 50 mark as our next milestone. So we got that in our sights, and we're excited about today's show. So we're glad you're here, and we're going to dive in, John. So let's talk about these three ways that we as general contractors can add value and actually help commercial real estate brokers close more deals. And this first way is what we like to call the pre-lease due diligence and feasibility analysis. That's kind of how we package what we can do. And it really consists of three things, three steps. One, we can walk spaces before a CRE pro has a client that's either committed to a space or shown interest to a space. But we can go with them, like say they have a client in mind or they have a client and they have a space in mind that would fit that client. Before they even show the client that space, they can call us and we can go and do this feasibility walkthrough with them. We can help them assess the space so that they know how to present the space in the best light to their potential client to hopefully have a higher likelihood of closing the deal. So what we would do in that walkthrough is that we would want to assess things like mechanical systems, look at the electrical system, make sure that it looks like it meets code and everything, and then we'd be looking for anything that jumps out as like a code violation, maybe something that's not ADA standard or whatever, and anyways, anything that also would be a structural limitation, like say they need a certain type of space or they need a loft or something like that. We'd have to be able to assess real quick whether or not they would be able to pull that off in that space. The next thing that we can do is that we can provide ballpark construction costs during what we call the tour phase when we're walking through that space with a tenant and obviously the agent, and we can actually like ballpark some things for them right there and give them an idea. Well, we know based on a job that we did similar to this that to do what you're looking at here might be in the neighborhood of X, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that we can help identify hidden costs of a space. If like say a CRE pro has a space that they've just taken as a listing and they're wanting to lease it out. So now they're serving that listing client, but also, they want to bring obviously potential lessees for the space. We want to be able to help them identify the hidden costs that they can disclose to a potential client so that, they don't get this client and get the paperwork done and all that and think that they got a hot deal. And then they find out, oh, the thing's full. It's got to be abated for asbestos or, something like that. It has to have a $20,000 in ADA upgrades or, a $50,000 ramp out front. Like I know you're involved in some really expensive ramp one time to meet ADA for a company. So
Yeah,
there's
we
things.
actually had to build two.
What's
We had
that?
to build two of them.
You had to build two of them. I know I've seen the pictures of that job. That was before my time, but it looked extensive, and that I'm sure it cost a pretty penny to do that, to bring that place up into compliance. And then, inadequate power. That a lot of times with these older commercial spaces, with the amount of power that we use today with, all the technology, the electronic devices, things like that different businesses may use, some of these older spaces may need retrofitting on their power systems. They might need a new panel or a sub panel, something like that, and those things can be costly. So those are three ways that we can. Those are three items in this first way of pre-lease due diligence and feasibility study that we can help bring value for this agent and help them hopefully close the deal. Whew, that was a mouthful, dude. That was tough.
When I look at this first point of the three ways, to me, it's like we're educating, the real estate agent on the things that we're, pros at. I mean, obviously they know the space, they know what these things rent for, they know all that kind of stuff, but they may have a weakness in the sense that they don't know if an air condition appears to be working properly, or they don't know, the requirements for a certain space. If they're wanting to lease this out to, if in their mind they think this is a potential restaurant lease or whatever,
Yeah.
then we can go in and point out that, hey, these bathrooms don't meet ADA, or 2 bathrooms aren't enough for a restaurant.
Yeah.
We can start to point out stuff like that. That's going to end up, really adding some additional cost that they probably weren't considering.
Yeah.
So to me, it gives that agent a little bit of information. It gives them a little more education on the space. So they're going to be prepared when they're trying to push it to a potential client.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, electrical, maybe like some inadequate electric, or just upgrades that need to be done in that sense.
Yeah.
We know that if it's a restaurant, it's going to need a good bit more power than just your average everyday office.
That's right.
And that may be something that, a realtor may not be thinking, that may not be front of mind. It's something that we can point out.
Yeah.
Another one in line with this restaurant, scenario is floor drains. I know
Yeah.
we've had a lot of them say, well, man, we can set up a kitchen here, we can do this, but there's no floor drains. So that can get to be expensive. So stuff like that is stuff that we can point out, fairly easy.
Yeah.
And it really gives the realtor a lot of good, information to have there when they're fielding this to potential clients.
Yeah.
And then, there are hidden costs like asbestos, and, we're familiar with what it looks like typically. I mean, obviously there's a lot of different forms of asbestos, but
Sure.
we're familiar with the common everyday type things that you see in older buildings and stuff that we could point out, that may, hamper a deal, or, just add some additional cost to a client that was leasing it, that may end up, souring a relationship between them and the realtor. So we're able to point out those kind of things. And really, like I said, in this first phase, to me, it's just, we're able to educate that realtor in the areas that we're, pretty much familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not expected to be construction experts, but yet what they do, their profession, it crosses paths with that need, that trade, that skill set all the time, because the spaces, a lot of them aren't going to be suitable the way they sit once they take the listing to potentially lease it out.
Right. One thing you mentioned too, you had mentioned some, maybe some budgeting cost at that, at that juncture in the walkthrough.
Very rough, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what I was going to say. I think that, probably what we're talking about in that first walkthrough is things that, they may be throwing some ideas out there, and we can say, no, that's really expensive, or you can do that for a fairly, decent cost.
Yeah.
And that gives them an understanding and a range of things that they can start to play with and suggest to clients. And, they know, well, this is going to really enhance the space, and it's not going to be that expensive based on our walkthrough.
Yeah.
Or they can say, I know that that's going to really push the costs up from what the information the contractor gave us. So maybe they don't make that suggestion.
Yeah.
But they help, push their client into a design or however you want to call it, of what they need.
Yeah.
Based on some conversations that we've had.
Yeah. I think the main value of that feasibility analysis that we can, do with, a commercial real estate professional is to help them, like you said, have a realistic conversation with their client, so that their client doesn't, fall in love with a space that there's no way they would ever be able to afford to build it out the way they think they want to.
Or maybe it just don't make sense for their business plan to spend that kind of money. Yeah.
Exactly. And that way they can direct them more quickly to an appropriate space, and nobody's wasting their time. And then you're also more likely to close a deal. Obviously, if you want to buy an orange and someone keeps showing you apples, you're never going to, you're never going to sell that orange, and they ain't going to get their orange. So that's a simplified analysis there, but you get the point. All right. So that's good. Let's go ahead and jump into the second way that we can, help commercial real estate professionals hopefully close more deals. And this one is talking about tenant improvement allowance. negotiation strategy. So this would be like if they're showing a potential leasee, a space, and maybe the space isn't one that their firm has listed. So it's another agency that has this space, and they're wanting to, help their client get fitted up with the right space. This kind of information can help agents, better negotiate, like you said in your opener about bringing, construction expertise into the negotiating table and close more deals. Well, this would be an example of that. You have a contractor with you along for the walkthrough, and they can, help point out things that are going to have to be corrected or adjusted, modified, whatever you want to call it. And that gives that client of the real estate professional and the CRE pro himself or herself the ammo to then go to that listing agent and say, look, client loves the space, but this is what our contractor's telling us that needs to happen for them to be able to use this space the way they need to for their business. And it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And then from there, they can, start having a meaningful conversation and negotiation about getting something done on the space. So the points there underneath that heading of tenant improvement allowance and negotiation strategy, we're just going to talk about how we can help brokers negotiate realistic tenant improvement allowances on the front end. We can provide itemized breakdowns, like, that's a little different role where, like I just said, laid out the scenario there where we're working with the agent who's trying to help the leasee get the space, procure the space from a different agency maybe. So we can, at that point, we can really dig in once we identify the things that need to be improved and do an itemized breakdown. And that helps them justify a higher allowance request, when they write the contract up. And then the other one, the last point there under this this heading, this point number 2 would be we can structure phase improvements. Like there might be a list of improvements or scope that we come up with as a builder that we see. Some of them might be need to do nows, must haves, and then other ones would be like to haves that we could put together in a package to do it in phases or stretch it out as their money, their revenue, as it they start to bring in revenue once they get their business up and running, would then allow them to do those other improvements. And by being able to put a little package like that together, a little plan, that could really help close a deal. And I mean, I think the tenant would be more compelled to want to sign a lease with that agent, being that they brought someone to the table that could do that for them. So give us your insight on this helping with developing tenant improvement, or TI allowances, as they say in the industry.
Do you have a construction project, but you just don't know where to begin? Let us show you the steps that are necessary to make your project a reality. I'm John Kelly with Kelly Construction Group, and I wanted to jump in here for just a second and let you guys know that here at Kelly Construction, we're more than just a builder. We're your one-stop solution. We want to help you with planning, design, permitting, and construction. If this sounds like a solution you need, reach out to us today. We've left the links in the show notes. Set up a call. Now, let's get back to today's show. I mean, I think this is very common, and this is something that we've actually done quite a bit of. And, I think what usually happens is, we have a commercial realtor that we worked with or that we're connected to, and they have a potential client that wants to lease a space, and they don't want to move forward because they don't know what it's going to cost to get their spot built out or to get it designed and redone the way they want it.
Yeah.
So if the realtor can reach out to us and say, hey man, I got this deal. Can you come work with me? Help me put this together so that I can inform my client on what it's actually going to cost.
Yeah.
And then that'll give them the tools that they need to know whether they can move forward or not.
That's right.
I mean, we've done this quite a few times. It's very, like I said, it's a very common way that we've connected and helped commercial real estate deals move forward.
Yeah.
And I know I can think of quite a few projects right now that we actually did just that exact scenario. We went and met with the realtor. We walked the space. We put together a preliminary budget.
Yeah.
Ended up connecting with the client after they signed the lease. Rehashed the budget, kind of went through it, made sure everything fit their need.
Yeah.
Taking multiple of these projects through permitting, design, and into construction.
Yeah.
And it was the commercial realtor was, able to close that deal because they had that information. They said, you know what, I understand your problem. I got a solution for it.
Yeah.
And we come in and we put together some stuff that worked and we made it happen. And there's been jobs where we threw a budget out there and it wasn't reasonable. It didn't fit the client's need. The deal didn't happen for the realtor. But at the end of the day, they both knew that it wasn't going to work.
Exactly.
They didn't walk away from a deal just because they didn't know what the cost was.
Exactly.
So we're able to put together that cost and kind of move the deal forward.
Yeah.
And to your point about phasing things, I mean, that's certainly somewhere that we can help out, because if they have a certain budget that they need to that they have available to get this project moving forward, then we can put the bare necessities out there and we can phase it, and we can say, it makes sense to do this stuff now, and we can do these other things without interrupting business at a later point.
Yeah.
And we've done some of that. I mean, I can think of one of the bigger deals actually that we've done where a commercial realtor brought it to us and was like, hey, we got a client, they want to lease this space. What's it going to cost, so that we can inform them. That deal actually turned out to be a big deal, but it was the same type thing.
Yeah.
They started generating some revenue, and as they was generating revenue, they was calling us back, say, hey, we want to do this now. We want to do this now.
Yeah.
And there was a few things that they wished for in the beginning, but didn't quite fit the budget. But as they were generating money, we were able to go back and add those things.
Yeah.
And worked out good for the realtor, worked out good for the end user, and it worked out good for us. Now
Sure.
we all have, other avenues for potential jobs just based on those connections. So
For sure.
That number two way is something that we really see and work with often.
Yeah, it's like a force multiplier. Like once you bring in another team, to help you serve your client better, like GCs with CRE pros, now all of a sudden you're just taking your ability to serve that client to a whole nother level.
Right.
And it opens up opportunities to the client that they may not see if they're just dealing with the commercial realtor and not really getting that input. It may just be all something that's on their plate that they're having to try to mentally figure out, and it can kill a deal before it ever gets started, because it's a lot of pressure. You don't know what the numbers are, so there's these big question marks about, am I going to start this and not be able to finish it and end up with no money and no place to run my business? There's so many scenarios where if you just bring in a pro that can tell you what it's going to take to get there, it just answers all those questions and checks those boxes.
Right.
Really a win-win. So, all right, good. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this third point then. This is point number 3 of the 3 ways that a general contractor can help a CRE pro close more deals. So this third point, we're talking about accelerating the occupancy timeline. So by having a contractor in the loop, like you said in the beginning at the negotiating table, or even before that, you're able to, obviously, when it clicks and everything falls into place and it works right, it's a good a good match for everybody. Then what it really does is it just speeds up the whole process, because now you got somebody where you can make a call. They can get on the phone to you and say, look, my client's ready to roll. They want to do this. When can you get in there? And you can get something scheduled. Typically in these type of jobs, it seems like they're not like some of the bigger projects we do where we got to, gear up to mobilize. We have a big handoff meeting, and, there's a lot more moving parts, and it takes a lot more to get those jobs mobilized. A lot of times these jobs can mobilize rather quickly, and you're able to put them together really fast. So anyways, that's the value of having that team assembled. So talking under this heading of how to accelerate these occupancy timelines, we're going to talk about pre-construction planning during the lease negotiations, how we can get some planning done while they're negotiating the lease with the listing agent. That's awesome. That's a huge time saver. Coordinate with the landlord's contractors early to streamline approvals. So, if the landlord has, like if it's a new development, they may have a contractor that's building that development, and the leasee's contractor has to coordinate with that, contractor to be able to get in there and get this work done. You can already get those lines of communication open by having that contractor in place. and then create like some fast track schedules where, like you were saying, you can prioritize certain work and get that work addressed first, so that they can, obviously the goal with any business owner is to get the place up and running and producing revenue. So anyways, give us some insight on I know that you've been involved in several of these deals, so tell us how this can happen and how it really does speed up the process.
So the first thing that comes to my mind, in the pre-construction planning phase, is setting some realistic timelines, for the client on what it's going to take to get a project permitted, to get it built.
Yeah.
To your point, if it's of a simpler job that doesn't require a bunch of permitting, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
just setting a realistic timeline so that they can plan and do whatever it is they need to do. If they're going to open a business in 30 days, well,
Yeah.
they can start getting, the money and the plan and all that together. If it's going to be 60 days, anyway, they can plan accordingly once we kind of set some timelines. And the same thing, for the realtors, specifically if a realtor is providing a certain portion of the build out, anything like that, we can set that timeline out there.
Yeah.
But to your point of accelerating the schedule, if they're confident that this is a done deal or close to it, and they're just negotiating, length of term or rates or whatever,
Yeah.
then we could go ahead and start doing that build out. We can have that ready so that when the deal's done, the realtor's portion of the work is actually complete.
Yeah.
And they can move in, and oftentimes when that client moves in, we would do their work also. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We've done that quite a few times.
Yeah.
And that's another area that it's kind of I guess a benefit, because we're able to do their projects at a more affordable rate if we can combine them and do both sides of it. But to me, that's ways that we can provide some good information in that pre-construction. A lot of times, we find that clients don't understand how long it takes to get a project permitted,
Yeah.
how long it takes to get plans drawn.
Exactly.
So that's really key, really critical information to understand in the beginning. And once you understand that, you have a real expectation for what the schedule is actually going to be.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about acceleration here, and I'm talking about how long it could take.
Yeah.
But that's information that you have to know before you can even really start to look at an accelerated schedule. Because if you're talking about how
Yeah.
fast we can do something, but there's no real expectation on how
Yeah.
long design takes, how long permitting takes,
Yeah.
then you're starting off on the wrong foot.
Yeah. If you don't have the basic understanding of what the process is, then it's the process is going to take that many times longer. So it's accelerated in the sense that once you know what the steps are, you can start taking the steps.
And two, you had mentioned working with another, maybe the contractor who developed a spot or whatever.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of times, for whatever reason, it seems like when I'm in a build out, like the contractor's been long gone. So there's not a lot of good information we can get from those guys.
Yeah.
However, there typically are plans and stuff like that available.
Yeah. Yes.
And the quicker we can ask for that kind of stuff and get our hands on that kind of stuff from the realtor,
Yeah.
we become a lot more of an asset, and things can be accelerated a lot faster.
Yeah.
Once we realize and understand where things are located, where are your drain lines, where is your main electrical feed.
Exactly.
We can help push things forward, like design or construction, once we have that information.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, it sounds like, those are three pretty solid ways that we can help commercial real estate brokers close more deals if they would just pick up the phone, give us a call. You got any closing thoughts about, the opportunity here that we might be missing a lot of opportunities from just not getting together with our friends in the real estate community?
Yeah, I would like to think that there's plenty of opportunities out there that don't connect or don't happen. That if we do some of the things that we talk about today could convert.
Yeah.
For the realtors and for us as GCs.
Yeah.
So I'd love to explore more of it. We've already seen it work a lot. I know that was a point of emphasis for us for a while, was trying to connect with realtors, and we still do that.
Yeah.
And we've definitely seen it work. So yeah, I'd love to see some more opportunities and bring it to life. I think that a few of the jobs that we've done are people that we connected with and had multiple opportunities. So I feel like it's a good strategy for building long-time clients for sure.
Absolutely. When it clicks, it just clicks, and it works really well, and it's great for everyone involved. So definitely, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully, if you're a commercial real estate pro and you're watching this episode, you're understanding, what we're trying to establish is that there's a lot of value here with your general contractors that are in your market, and there's a lot of untapped potential, I think, and helping you guys move deals forward. Just simply being able to get numbers and get a budget can help a lot of your clients be able to say, yeah, I can do that. That sounds like something that I want to go forward with. So don't hesitate to give us a call. We're a great source. We're a great resource for information. We can answer any questions that you have about a space and a particular scope of work that may need to be done in a space. So, don't be shy. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We're always here. We're always ready to talk to you. And we can go grab a coffee and whatever it takes, right, to bring this deal together. So anyways, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Keep coming back for more. And please subscribe, like and subscribe. Subscriptions help this show get pushed out to more listeners and viewers. So please just take a minute and hit that subscribe button. We won't be, spamming you with a bunch of notifications or anything, but just get your, put your hand up in that, that box that says that you subscribe to the show so that we can get it out to more people. So anyways, that's it, John. We're out of here.
Good show.
All
Talk
right.
to you later, Big Joe.
Adios, Big John. Here we go.